Welcome to Cooking with Chef Tuan, and today we are going to be making one of my childhood favorite foods, spaghetti and meat sauce, or spaghetti bolognese. And as usual, all the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box down below. Now, it is a good idea to get all your ingredients together so we can all cook together seamlessly. Now, we're going to start off first by prepping our mirepoix, or our carrots, celery, and onions. I'm going to be chopping all these in a food processor, but I'm just going to chunk them up a little bit smaller so they all fit together. Now, you don't have to do this in a food processor, but I love the way the vegetable pulp helps deglaze the pan after we're done searing our meat. All right, once the mirepoix is done processing, we're going to put them in a bowl and just set it aside. During this time, we're going to get a nice Dutch oven or a heavy bottom pot, and we're going to get it up ripping hot, and we're going to start searing our meat. Now, normally when I make my bolognese, I use a mixture of ground beef and ground pork. But now in our current situation, ground pork is a little hard to come by. Pork in general, from where I'm at, is a little hard to come by. So I'm using ground chuck. And as you can see here, there's a lot of water being leached out from the meat. Most important step is do not drain this water. Do not pour it out. Let it all cook, because that is where our flavor is going to be coming from. Now, if you pay attention, you notice that it goes from a bubbling, gurgling sound to a sizzling sound. That's when you know we are starting to cook. Now, as you can see, all the water is evaporated, and now it's starting to create a lot of fond, or those brown flavor bits on the bottom. Now, this is where the beauty of the food processed mirepoix comes in. As you can see, there's a lot of liquid coming from these vegetables, and it helps deglaze the pan. As you can see, I'm just scraping up all the bottom bits as I'm mixing the vegetables into the meat. And usually at this point, this is when I like to start to season. The salt at this point is going to draw out even more moisture from the vegetables, which is going to help the vegetables start to caramelize before they disintegrate. And again, once the water starts to cook off from here, you're going to start to see a little more brown bits forming at the bottom of the pan. And then when that starts to happen, when all the water's gone, I like to make a well in the middle and add a total of about 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. And as you can see, I'm slowly dissolving it into the meat and into the pan. And then you're going to start to see there's going to be more flavor bits, brown bits on the bottom forming. That is when you want to go in and deglaze with your white wine. Now, you can always use red wine as well, but I think I prefer white wine the best. And once all the wine has cooked off, I'm going to add my secret ingredient, mushroom powder. It's going to give this bolognese a big punch of umami. I'll explain on the blog post about mushroom powder at cookingwithcheftuan.com. Then once that's done, we're going to add about half a cup of milk. Now, the milk has some enzymes in it that's going to help further break down the meat, and it's going to give your bolognese a nice velvety mouthfeel. Now, I threw some bay leaves in here, and as well as about 18 ounces of chicken stock. Usually I use beef stock, but got to work with what we got. You want to keep stirring your bolognese. All the while, make sure that you're scraping all the bits off the bottom. We're going to bring this up to a simmer, and then we're going to turn it on low and put a lid on it for at least 3 hours, checking every 30 minutes or so to scrape the bottom to make sure nothing burns. 3 hours later, and this is what we have. You can go ahead and skim the fat off the top, but I like to leave it. You definitely can cook this longer if you want to, but I'm hungry right now. Now, while this sauce is bubbling away, getting ready for our pasta water to come up to temperature, we're going to salt this as salty as the sea. Make sure the water's up to a rolling boil. And olive oil? Nope. Just kidding. Don't ever add oil to your pasta water. If you want to make sure that your pasta doesn't stick while cooking, make sure that there's enough water in there and the water's at a rolling boil. Now, I like to take some sauce out, about 6 ounces, into a separate saute pan, and then reduce it a little bit so it's a little bit dry, because we're going to be taking our pasta out of the cooking water and dropping it into this sauce. Now, you want to take the pasta out of the water 2 minutes before what the box says the finished instructions are, because it's going to finish cooking in the sauce. Now, with the sauce being reduced and getting a little thicker, the amount of water that's coming with this pasta is going to thin out this bolognese just beautifully. Now, just toss the spaghetti into the bolognese sauce and make sure that every single noodle is getting coated. As you can see, the noodles are absorbing this sauce just beautifully, and we're going to thicken it up with a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. And as you can tell, the bottom of the pan, no pasta water. Now let's take our beautifully cooked spaghetti bolognese and put it into your favorite pasta bowl. And grab some parm and just shave as much as you want on top. And then I like to garnish my spaghetti bolognese with a little bit of olive oil to make it a little velvety and some fresh torn basil. All right, let's take our bolognese and head out to the balcony and look at this beautiful bowl of pasta that we have here. Perfectly cooked noodles, our beautiful slow cooked bolognese, hand torn basil, fresh grated Parmesan cheese, beautiful sunshine. Now, I've had a lifelong love affair with spaghetti and meat sauce. This dish actually was the one that made me become interested in cooking. And you know, it's not a bad dish to have as one of your favorites. So I'm gonna sit here, let the sun beat down on my face while I enjoy the rest of the spaghetti. Some people have asked me, like, what am I looking at when I look off camera? I gotta tell you, I have a view of the ocean, and so that's what I'm looking at. Guys, if you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave me some comments down below. Be safe out there, guys. And as always, peace.